Hello. Hope you had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. Not too shabby. What went down this weekend? Saturday, got up, went and hung out at the Idaho Falls Farmers Market with Katie Lee from Z103. Peaches came by and hung out for a bit as well. Thank you, Peaches, for kicking it with me. We ended up gathering a ton of pet food. I got to give out a major thanks to everybody who stopped by. You know, lugging giant bags of cat food from wherever you managed to find parking at the Idaho Falls Farmers Market to bring it to us. That is just very cool. You know, I was whiny about lugging the duffel bag full of t-shirts, hats, and blah, blah, blah from where, I parked, which was not far at all. So, yeah, good times. Beautiful day at the farmer's market. Wasn't too hot. Managed to not get sunburned. There was a nice breeze. And, so many people stopped by to say hello. Had just a great time chatting with you folks. And maybe we met some new folks that are going to tune into this program and the various other programs we have here on K-Bear. So that was really cool. And I had a number of people ask about like cash donations and things like that. We were just taking pet food, but our local animal shelters are always taking donations. Bring by some stuff to drop off, kick them down some cash, year round. I'm sure they can use all of that help. So yeah, we've got busy times going on around here. It's summertime. That tends to lead to a lot of activity happening. For example, coming up, it's going to be here before we know it, the 4th of July, which brings, the biggest 4th of July celebration west of the Mississippi, right here to East Idaho, Snake River Landing. I'm talking about the Melaleuca Freedom Celebration. Yeah, biggest fireworks show west of the Mississippi. We'll be hanging out all day. Like, I'm going to be there all day and all night with the Idaho Falls Community Hospital Riverfest. So many different activities going on at Riverfest. If you're looking to celebrate the 4th, that's where you're going to want to be all day long at the Idaho Falls Community Hospital Riverfest, presented by Idaho Central Credit Union, Tag and Go Car Wash, and Riverbend Media Group. Make sure to bring sunblock. It's been hotter than usual so far this summer. Bring and drink lots of water. No motorized vehicles, no pets. And, for those little ones, when you got the biggest fireworks show west of the Mississippi, you're probably going to want to protect their hearing a little bit. So some kind of ear protection. And then they can enjoy their time earlier on at the Stones Kia Kids Zone. And there's going to be food and truck vendors from all over East Idaho. Yeah, you don't need to wait for the fair to have fair food. Just come out to the Idaho Falls Community Hospital Riverfest. So I hope to see you out for that. Getting all prepared. Busy next few weeks, but it's going to be fun. So anyway, I'm going to get digging into the news here. See what we can find for stupid crap to talk about on this show today. Well, what's up, people? Morning and happy Monday. I hope you're doing good so far. Just slowly getting moving here, but things are going pretty decent, I suppose. All right, now we just got to find content, which generally is fun after the weekend. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Right now, I was reading through a list of the animals that people hate most. Why? I don't know. I just clicked on it. I'm like, what animals could people hate so badly? And right out of the gate, I don't know if I'd count these as animals, like bugs, gnats, for example. Sure, they're annoying, but they're not animals. What is the official definition of an animal? What is an animal? Let's see what Google says. Oh, geez, this is a big scientific explanation here from Wikipedia. Oh, my goodness. All right, I'm going to look at pictures of animals. Yeah, they tend to be like horses, dogs, cats, people. All right, let's click on this here. Okay, I guess it could count just about anything, because here we go. We got like sponges, jellyfish, insects, fish, birds, snakes, mouse. All right. I guess we'll have to accept insects as animals that are hateable. So gnats, yeah, but they're not as bad as mosquitoes. I think if we're going to count insects, mosquitoes, the worst. They kill people, spread disease. If you're me, and you're allergic to them, it's a miserable time. Anytime you get bites, swell up all huge, feel sick. Ugh. Okay, we got... it's all going to be bugs, isn't it? Bed bugs? Yeah. Terrible. There we go. Mosquitoes. I want to find something that's not a bug that people hate. Fleas, centipedes that hang upside down in caves and catch and eat bats. Jeez. I'm not going into a cave anytime soon. Cockroaches. Maggots. Jeez. Tapeworms. Okay, here's someone who says hippos. Says they sort of make them mad. Can't look like that and be dangerous. Yeah, hippos, they'll eat people. They'll eat people. They're super dangerous. Oh, do they not eat people? Says they're vegetarian, not even omnivores. They don't want to eat you. They just hate you. Okay, so they don't eat you. They just kill you. All right? Monkeys. Okay. Yeah, monkeys will rip your face off. So I could understand being a little bit afraid of monkeys. Okay. Someone trashing on koalas. All right, they have one of the smallest brain-to-body ratios of any mammal. Their brains are smooth, so I guess koalas are dumb. If you present a koala with leaves picked from a branch laid on a flat surface, they won't recognize it as food. So they're just talking about how stupid they are. And this is like a full article somebody posted with their rant on koalas. All right. Any sort of pest that carries disease. Now we're back to bugs. Crabs that eat the baby turtles. Yeah, that's not very nice, is it? I mean, it's nature, but okay. Aggressive dogs owned by inattentive humans. So probably the human. Yeah, I was going to say, the most hateable animal, that could definitely be people. Now, I don't hate a lot of people. All right, I tend to get along with everybody if they're willing to have a rational conversation with me. Yeah? Tend to get along with everybody great in person anyhow. At least in person. But even when I get in discussions, in places like social media, I'm not going to attack people. All right? That doesn't get you anywhere in an argument. You got to use facts and logic. And if you want somebody to listen to you, you can't just be like, you're dumb, you suck, you're an idiot. That's not going to go anywhere, all right? That is not having a discussion. It's just throwing jabs that are not even that good. If you're going to throw a jab at somebody, at least, make it clever and funny or something. Come on now. Okay, there's got to be better content than this. I'm going to keep trying. Busy Monday here. Lots to do. Should I drink more caffeine yet? No. I'll wait a little bit, but thankfully I had caffeine. Woke up the other day, no instant coffee at my house before the farmer's market. Like, this is not how I need to start my day. I need a boost. But I managed to get energized up before I got there, so. Hi, how's Monday? It's a low content day, I'll tell you that. Jeez, what is going on here? Maybe I got to dig into Florida, man. It's always an easy go-to. Wish other states would be honest with the news about their craziness. All right, let's see what's going on in the world of Florida, man. There had to be something crazy that happened over the weekend. Okay, we already talked about the Florida man who posed as a flight attendant to take 120 free flights. Still don't understand how, with how crazy airport security is, anybody could get away with that. What did Florida man do all weekend? I mean, all of these stories are old. Like the guy who, peed on the Spam and Vienna sausages in a Sam's Club. Let's see here. A bunch of unpleasant stories that I wouldn't want to talk about. What's going on here? There ain't no way Florida man was asleep all weekend. Yeah? Oh boy. Is it going to be one of those days? It's quite possible. Like I said, striking out so far. This is why most radio shows just use radio prep. and all tell, the same exact stories and all use the same exact content. They don't have to think. They don't have to try. You just pull it up. Hey, guess what celebrity birthdays we have today? Ugh. Maybe I should just go that route, huh? Moving forward, not having to put any effort into my show whatsoever. Why take the hard route when there's an easy route available? Okay, maybe we could find some good movies here. The greatest movie you've ever seen that no one else seems to know about. Let's see if we've heard of any of these. All right, Autofocus. It's a documentary about the fall of Hogan's Heroes star Bob Crane. Yeah, I haven't heard of that. Shattered Glass. What's that about? Oh, it's got Hayden Christensen in it. They don't really describe it. It's a brilliant true crime story about a reporter getting busted, making up his articles on the fly. Well, that's not surprising at all, based on how the news seems to operate nowadays. How can we get people screaming at each other? Post lots of that. All right, American Animals. Now, this one, I think I might have seen this movie. It sounds familiar. It's another documentary. But, let's see. We've got Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. That sounds familiar. And Christopher Walken plays a crime boss in it, as well as in the movie Suicide Kings. Yeah, I went through a nice phase watching mob movies, and I don't recall hearing about either of those. Hey, I'm always down to make a list of movies to check out, because I like to sit around and just watch TV as much as I can. Not going to be happening today. I got too much prep to do for an interview tomorrow that I did not prepare for whatsoever during the last week. Ugh, why do I do this to myself? Don't procrastinate, people, okay? Don't leave things till the last minute. Then it gets all stressful. And stress, it's not good for you. Not good for you. The Salton Sea, a movie starring Val Kilmer, starts out like a drug movie but takes a left turn. Yeah. You know what? I really appreciate it when there's a list, like greatest movies you've ever seen that no one's ever heard of. And I'm going through it and I'm like, I haven't heard of any of these movies. Yeah, Southern Comfort. Well, the only Southern Comfort I've heard of, that sweet booze. Ugh. No, not my jam. Not my jam. One Cut of the Dead. Yeah, never heard of that one. Okay. I'm going to bookmark this. Because you know what it's like when you're sitting there scrolling through Netflix, just endlessly scrolling, can't find anything to watch. Ugh. It's just typical. That's why I watch so much South Park. I'm like, that'll be fine. It'll do. Or just leave YouTube on loop. Last night I was watching some kind of David Blaine thing on Hulu when I was trying to go to bed. He lit himself on fire and jumped off a bridge in Brazil. It was all right. It wasn't like a magic show, more of a stunt show, but it was decent. All right. Well, anyway, if you want to find that page, it's on Reddit under r/flicks. Greatest movie you've ever seen that no one seems to have heard about. Yeah, try something new. Seems like we talked about this, but it says it was posted 2 days ago. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm having a deja vu moment. Jobs that attract the worst type of people. Yeah, you don't want to work with bad people. If you got a bunch of coworkers who are just terrible, that's no way to go through life. All right, it's bad enough if a job's annoying, but if you got to put up with horrible coworkers, yeah. All right, well, let's find out. Maybe you're on the job hunt. Places to avoid. Okay, nightclub owner. This person says, I have yet to meet one that wasn't fraudulent in some way. All right. Now, does that include bars or what? No, not trying to say anything about local bars. I don't know a lot of bar owners, but the ones I've met seem to be pretty nice. But I don't know any of them very well. We don't have a lot of what I would call nightclubs around here, but I mean, that's essentially a bar, right? Let's see. Psychologist. 50% of us are in the job because they want to help people. 50% are here because they need a lot of help. I think most psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, and such Probably. It's like radio people. We're all very needy. I need attention. Listen to me. Please listen to me talk. I've yet to meet a radio person who's not, a weirdo in some way or other. But I would imagine most people in that kind of field, mental health, they probably, have some mental health. I don't want to say issues, but I don't know, to have a passion for something. I think having some personal experience with it is, certainly going to help do a good job. I can't imagine being any type of a counselor all day, just taking on the weight of other people's, issues and things like that. Shout out to all of the mental health professionals out there doing a great job to, help folks out, because that's a lot of weight, a lot of mental weight to take on. No way I could do it. Timeshare sales. Let's see. One guy commented, I used to work for an attorney's office helping people get out of timeshares. I've seen timeshare employees chase down elderly people, make them cry. One time, a friend came to town for a funeral, which the guy at the hotel knew, tried to get her to sign up for a timeshare. And then they really start going off here. Don't know any timeshare salesmen. I'm sure there are timeshares around here somewhere, maybe like Island Park or something. But yeah, make sure to heavily look into these things before you go ahead and start kicking down dough. All of these businesses, it's like a casino. They're there to make money. I'm not saying timeshares are like casinos where you're gambling, but insurance, they all want to come out ahead, and they all do come out ahead. So you got to make sure you're getting yourself a fair deal. Let's see here. Tower hands. I worked as an electrician for a cell tower company, and that was the only gig where I had more of my tools stolen, and it was always a tower hand that did it. What, the people who, are those people who climb towers and things like that? We've got towers. I'll give Jade a heads up. Watch your tools, dude. Watch your tools. Payday loan people. Yeah. If you can avoid taking a payday loan, don't ever do it. The interest rates, they're just crazy. Not worth it. I know, times are tough right now. Hard to get by, but if you can avoid any kind of loan, avoid using credit, trust me, it's going to be a good thing. Some banks have a bad reputation. Well, yeah, we've learned that throughout the financial crises of the last couple decades. Scam callers. Now, can you imagine that being your job? You got to have a real twisted mentality to be a scam caller. Just trying to weasel money out of people. Hey, I'm calling from the federal government. Blah, 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 blah. You owe us taxes. Go ahead and just Venmo them to here. Ugh. Terrible, terrible. Same with people who build internet viruses and any of that kind of stuff that can infect your computer, steal your personal information. HOA president. Some people dream of wielding petty power over the color of your mailbox and height of your grass. I could never live in a place with an HOA. No way. All right, airport security. Now, I wouldn't say problems, but I've been aggravated by airport security before. That's why that story I mentioned earlier about the guy who pretended to be a flight attendant and got 120 free flights. How does that happen with how strict airport security is? Lots of good folks, but every once in a while I get someone who, they're just not nice. And I'm sure you're dealing with passengers, many of which who are completely irritating. So I can't really blame you for sometimes being a little bit rude, but I'm always friendly. All right. Even when they, got to open up all my bags and rip things apart and open up my CPAP machine. And yeah, you just stuck me in the full body scanner. Come on, cut me some slack here. Glorious Monday, huh? Yeah. Yay. Okay, sorry, I will be encouraging and enthusiastic as we move forward. Just been kind of a tough news day here. I got some other options, though. I got a lot of different places I can go to try to find stuff. Just usually it's easy, somewhat easy. Again, back to I should just use radio prep and do the same stories that everybody else is doing. That makes a radio job really easy. You wouldn't believe how lazy most hosts are. They don't put any effort into bringing up content. A lot of shows, this is what I need. I need a morning show producer. Jade, where's that budget at, buddy? Morning show producer, you just gather content for the show. Most of the big shows that are making lots of money, like they just come in, they do a 4-hour show, and then they go home, and they don't even have to figure out what to talk about on their own. I'm sitting here like trying to figure out what new music to put on K-Bear and Z103 and The Hawk this week, while also freaking out because I haven't done any preparation for an interview I got to do tomorrow that, could be a fairly extensive interview with the guys from last podcast on the left. Yeah, kind of having a morning here. Maybe I am going to get back into the caffeine sooner rather than later, but it'd be helpful if I could just, rely on my normal sources to find crap to talk about. I am not going to pull up radio prep. I refuse. I put my foot down. No. But I'm pretty sure we'll find some freak news. I got, 10 minutes to pull up a few stories. How hard could it be? Well, why don't you stick around and find out? See if I bomb on freak news. What's up? You ready for some stupid news? I mean, there's lots of it out there, but most of it I don't want to talk about. A lot of dark stuff going on today. Got a call from Stuart. Reminded me of a few, just terrible stories from over the weekend. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll avoid those topics. We could talk about mosh pit warnings. Last weekend, they had the Download Festival in the UK, and they had to send out a mosh pit warning to the local, police and emergency responders. Because I don't have one of these, but, for example, certain watches, if they think that you've been in an accident, they detect an abrupt kind of, movement, a crash, they'll just automatically call 911, or in the UK, it's 999. Wouldn't it be easier if the emergency number was, just one number? But I guess that might result in more accidental calls. I mean, how many times you butt dial somebody, Anyway, yeah, they say they get 700 extra calls caused by moshing, because these devices think that people have been in an accident. Your phone can do it as well. So, they weren't throwing out the warning that, hey, don't mosh. Even though, if you're my age, I gotta say, don't mosh. I moshed at the Poppy show multiple times, got knocked down every time. Final time I got knocked down, screwed up my tailbone for 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm too old for that kind of crap. But I just couldn't resist. So, that happened. All right, baby shower turns violent when suspect mows down another woman after an argument. All right. Okay, I thought this was a gender reveal. But no, it was the actual baby shower party. Because gender reveals go awry all the time. Somebody will have some kind of a, explosive and, set the forest on fire, or, set a bunch of balloons loose, and who knows what they did to, the local wildlife. All right, let's see here. 8 counts of aggravated assault for Robin Alexander of Maryland. Yeah, this was 5 p.m. June 1st. A little bit of an argument breaks out at a baby shower. Argument spills to the parking lot, and then she just gets in her car and just starts running people over. Thankfully, it doesn't look like anyone was hurt too bad, right? Nobody died or anything. That'd be great. Oh, people stopped her by slashing her tires. One person taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, 2 others treated at the scene. Yeah, over the weekend, I witnessed an argument happen out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I won't get into further details, but yeah, decided to go out on the town with a friend Saturday night. And all of a sudden, some guy just tries to get in a fight with them, out of nowhere. So we lasted 30 minutes. 30 minutes out on the town. I was like, let's just go back to my house. I still don't even understand what happened. But as we were leaving, did see the police rolling in. So I'm assuming this guy was just trying to fight everybody or something. It was very annoying. Very annoying. You know, you just try to get out and have a good time, and there's psychotic people on the streets. Be careful out there. People are a little bit unhinged these days. All right, United Airlines passengers shocked by lewd message that greeted them on every in-flight video screen on the plane. That's not that bad. I was like, all right, you know, whatever this message is, I'm not going to be able to say it on air. But it said, welcome aboard flight Bite Me 1 to Chicago. Come on, that's not terrible. I was hoping for something much worse. Yeah. I mean, you need something to kind of make you laugh when you get on an airplane. If you get as irritated by air travel as I do. You know, I'd love to sit down in my seat, look up at the screen, and it says something completely insane. But then I'm sure, you know, somebody would claim, oh, it was so devastating to me. I need to sue the airlines. Oh. All right. Anyway, I assume somebody just thought they were having a little bit of fun. Like somebody who's about 10. Because, I mean, really, that's pretty tame. If I can say the message on my show, I don't know if I'd call it like lewd, nor say it's worth writing a news article about. You know? That's not that bad. I'm surprised anybody even noticed. But there you go. There you go. United Airlines having to respond to it as well. We're sorry. We're so sorry. Oh, okay. Now, there were other instances when this has happened that I can't say the messages on air. This one, I'm glad that I was. The others, yeah, okay, I'd understand why that would be upsetting to people. You're just going to have to speculate, okay? All right, it's after 8 already. I got to get some stuff done here. Are we in the end times? Is the apocalypse coming? According to cracked.com, some of the stories we've done on Freak News in recent weeks are signs that we're living in an apocalypse movie. All right, let's take a look, see what I think. All right, we've got monkeys kidnapping other monkeys. So scientists on Jacaron Island in Panama have been watching these capuchin monkeys. I guess they have stone tools they use when preparing food. Now, that's not that scary, right? But then they noticed many of these monkeys had little baby howler monkeys on their backs. Different species. So they're just stealing them. Terrible monkeys. And that's messed up, all right? I don't know if it's a sign of the apocalypse, though. I mean, it's just animals being rude, okay? And animals sometimes engage in really horrific behavior, all right? Just read up on some of the smarter animals out there. Dolphins. I'm not going to get into it. Dolphins do some terrible things, okay? Now, I am all for the orcas attacking boats and things like that because, you know, animals fighting back against people. I kind of find that funny, you know, as long as nobody gets hurt. But... all right, the mysterious space message. Okay, there's an object in space that scientists have assigned the name. Why did they say the catchy name? ASKAPJ18320911. Okay, so it's a long period radio transient, so it sends out radio waves, but they don't know what it is. Could be a star, or it could be, I don't know what, but they've detected X-rays coming off it. And apparently an object like this isn't supposed to give off both radio waves and X-ray waves, so they don't know what it means, but it's been sending out the message every 44.2 minutes. Could be aliens, you know, reaching out. Doesn't mean they're, like, sending a bad message. We blast out radio messages, you know. We've got, you know, craft that are just floating out into the cosmos. So I'm not going to go with that's a sign of the apocalypse. All right. I read about this recently because my daughter lives in Bellingham. A truck hauling bees, 35 tons of beehives, crashed and broke open. and out of the truck came 14 million bees. And now they're trying to retrieve. How do you retrieve bees? I guess, fix the hive and hope they come back. Yeah. But I mean, a truck overturning, I don't think that's a sign of the apocalypse either. Pigeons being on an airplane, I think we talked about that one. I mean, when Jade and Josh and I were making the rounds last week at our transmitter sites, we walked into one of the buildings. Should be no way that a bird could get in there, but there was a bird in there. And it's like really hot in there. Who knows how long it had been in there? We managed to get it out of there, but sometimes animals get in places, all right? I mean, people find snakes coming out of their toilets. Not a sign of the apocalypse. Okay. A plan to nuke the ocean, all right? I think anytime we're talking about nukes, then people start getting worried a little bit about the apocalypse. Yeah, nukes are scary. If you've watched, Oppenheimer, or if you've watched Fallout, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a pretty wild scene at the beginning of the Fallout series with nuclear bombs. It was unsettling to watch, to say the least. Now, what are they trying to do? Why do they want to bomb the ocean floor? So let's see. They're talking about carbon dioxide. I guess it would release more carbon dioxide. Is that right? They say we've crossed a threshold regarding carbon in the atmosphere. So if they can get the carbon to tone it down a bit, bust up a bunch of rocks on the ocean floor, it'll absorb carbon dioxide as it breaks down chemically. So hopefully it would remove as much carbon dioxide as we emit in 30 years. Okay, well, we need a better long-term solution. And also, what if they screw this up somehow? What if there's something living under the ocean? I've watched a lot of horror movies, all right? Sometimes what is trapped below the depths you do not want to set free. Okay, I'm still not too worried. I'd be more worried about AI and just people. Those are the two things that I say we've got to be most concerned about. AI and people. Humans, man, if anything's gonna trigger an apocalypse, it's gonna be people, because people be dumb. All right, let's talk about a fun giveaway we've got going on this week. Let's see, I think I need some nice X-Files music for this. The JK Ultra Tour with Last Podcast on the Left, coming to the Sandy Amphitheater in Sandy, Utah, Saturday, July 12th. Nothing better than a fun show on a Saturday. If you're not familiar with Last Podcast on the Left, it's my favorite podcast. So great. So good. They cover all kinds of different crazy topics. Conspiracy theories, true crime, serial killers, the paranormal. And they're doing a live show in Salt Lake. It's on a Saturday, and we got a bunch of tickets. We're going to be hooking people up with it this week. So if you want to go to the show, what we're going to be doing is playing a little game called Last Tune on the Left, where we play a song that's inspired by the type of topic you'd probably hear on Last Podcast on the Left. It could be something about a serial killer or something. Well, let's go ahead and play the game right now. The way this works, I'm going to play a song. Caller number 13, you get the first chance to tell me what inspired this song. And if you get it right, you win tickets to the show. Simple as that. So, caller number 13 right now, you need to tell me what the song Hangar 18 by Megadeth was inspired by. Megadeth, Hangar 18. It's the Viktor Wilt Show, and we are giving away tickets to a show where you might hear a little bit about things like the song Hangar 18 is talking about Last Podcast on the Left, the JK Ultra Tour, which is going to be hitting up the Sandy Amphitheater on July 12th, and we want listeners to come hang out with us at it. Jade's going to be there, Josh from Classy coming along, Should be loads of fun. You know, if you're into true crime and paranormal stuff, you would love this podcast. It's very funny as well. They take some dark subject matter and make it pretty entertaining. That's why it's, my favorite podcast. So figured if we're going to go to the show, we might as well bring listeners with us to have some fun. And it's on a Saturday. So all week, we're hooking up tickets. We're playing the Last Tune on the Left game. Playing songs. Caller number 13 gets a chance to guess what inspired that song. And if they get it right, they go to the show for free on us. Now, tickets are on sale now. I blasted out some social media posts about this. If you want to find that ticket link, it's in the comments on Facebook. Or you can check out our event calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. So, played Hangar 18. We got caller number 13 on hold. Let's go ahead and go to the phones and see if we can get ourselves a winner for some tickets to join the K-Bear staff at the JK Ultra Tour. All right, K-Bear, who's this?
This is Shane.
Shane, what's up? You're my caller number 13, man.
All right.
All right, Shane. So we're listening to Hangar 18 by Megadeth. What inspired this song?
UFOs?
Maybe a little more specific.
I don't know. The holding of UFO material that the government has confiscated or hid.
I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. Hangar 18 was a conspiracy theory from back in the, I think the 70s, where this guy, put out this book claiming that UFO debris or alien bodies were being held in a place called Hangar 18. So I'll give you some tickets to the show, man.
Awesome.
All right. Hang on the line so I can get your information. And who's your favorite radio station?
K-Bear.
Well, if I see the headline, Blair County man allegedly blew up toilet in Pittsburgh casino. Yeah, you know I'm going to talk about that. And no, it wasn't like he blew up the toilet like you'd expect maybe Jay Davis to do. No, we're talking about, blowing up a toilet. So apparently he was in this casino, the Rivers Casino. It's about 5:40 a.m. And he was taken into custody by casino security for trespassing in a closed restaurant and trying to steal bottles of alcohol worth up to $4,000. So, they're taking him to a secure area and he's like, can I go to the bathroom? They're like, sure, we'll let you use this employee restroom. So he's accused of lighting what they're calling a commercial grade firework and putting it in the toilet. The resulting explosion injured a casino employee who was in the restroom. So it must have been a pretty good firecracker. Worker was treated for minor injuries. Then they went and searched his vehicle, found more fireworks, called in the bomb squad, had to bring in a canine unit to sweep the garage in the casino. Did not find any additional explosives. But, you don't want to be facing charges of arson, endangering persons, felony charges of theft, receiving stolen property. If you're already busted for theft, even though blowing up a toilet sounds fun, it's not going to help you. Yeah, And, when you injure somebody, this guy's going to be in jail for a long time. It's not worth it, bro. So anyway, just had to share the exploding toilet story with you because, I would feel like I failed if I didn't. I'm not going to get into discussion about all the various protests over the weekend, but they had one in London. The World Naked Bike Ride, which is a peaceful protest against car culture and oil dependency. So people just stripped down, got on a bike, and hit the streets. And they've got a lot of blurred out photos at the Daily Mail if you really want to see blurred out photos of the naked bike riders. It looks like it all went well. Can you imagine if somebody tried to do a protest like that around here? It'd be pretty wild, huh? I would imagine counter protests for sure. People bundled up, out in that summer heat. Yeah, just covered head to toe. I think these kind of protests are fun. I mean, bicyclists can be pretty annoying, as we've discussed a number of times on this program, but if you're going to do a bike protest, naked bike protest, I think that if all protests, people were just stripped down, it would make them a little bit more entertaining, right? Do you think then anyone would be arguing about it? Maybe not. But yeah, I guess they do this every year. And they still haven't gotten rid of cars, but it looks like fun. There's a woman painted blue. And there's an old couple on a bicycle built for two. And all the people in the streets are just laughing as everybody rides on by. Yeah. I don't think that's going to fly in East Idaho. If somebody wants to try to, set one up, you've got my full support. But, yeah, I have a feeling wouldn't work out so well. Anyway, what else do we have here? Oh, we don't really deal with these a lot in this area, but cicadas are coming out in many areas of the country. These bugs that, they live underground for decades, and then, they've got different broods of them, as they call them, and every so often they'll make their way to the surface. So they've got this problem in Ohio, and I guess at a local amusement park, the Kings Island Amusement Park, they're having to warn visitors, keep your mouth closed while you're on, the rides. What fun is that, right? You're on a roller coaster. You want to put your hands up and, oh. Have you ever seen these kind of bugs? If you've ever been in an area where they are making their way to the surface and out and about, they make a bunch of, really creepy racket. And they're just disgusting looking. They look so gross. It'd be bad enough just having them around, landing on you. But, I mean, I don't know what they taste like, okay? Maybe they're delicious. But you still want to make the choice to snack down on one. Just flying into your mouth while you're on a roller coaster. Oh, that is just terrible. So people have been sharing their experiences with these on TikTok, of course. Some funny ones, like this kid just starts bawling. I probably would too, You saw how I reacted to a big snake when we had a giant snake in the studio, and I held it for a minute. Yeah. Little tiny bugs? Well, okay, these aren't tiny bugs. They've got giant red eyes. They're so disgusting looking. Ugh. Yeah, I don't blame this kid for crying at all. But I'm a wuss like that. Okay, more tunes and crap on the way. Hang on. As the 4th of July approaches, I start to get a little bit more anxious because it's so busy for us here at Riverbend Media Group. We got the Idaho Falls Community Hospital Riverfest. It's going on all day the 4th of July, presented by Idaho Central Credit Union, Tag and Go Car Wash, and Riverbend Media Group. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to do something fun on the 4th, Snake River Landing, the only place to be. They got stuff for the kids, like the Stones Kia Kid Zone. You can get yourself an all-day pass, still only $10. Test drive a new Can-Am from Rev Motorsports in the off-road demonstration area. So much going down, and it all culminates with the biggest fireworks show west of the Mississippi, the Melaleuca Freedom Celebration. Don't forget to tune into Classy 97 during the fireworks show. Listen on a regular radio, not the app, because the app, it's on a little bit of a buffered delay. If you want the fireworks to perfectly sync up with the soundtrack that Jade spends literally weeks of time working on, then yeah, use a regular radio. But I haven't heard Jade's soundtrack for this year yet, but I can tell you he always does a great job. And yeah, I mean, this is the fireworks event to attend. And you can hang out there all day, get yourself a good spot for the big show. Make sure to bring water, sunblock, no pets or anything like that, and bring some, ear protection for the kids because it's loud, it's explosive. So lots of preparation happening around here And it's going to be here before we know it. You're going to blink and it's going to be the 4th of July. So, yeah, track me down at Riverfest. Come say what up. And, over the weekend, I was out at the Idaho Falls Farmers Market. Thank you again to everybody who came out and dropped off pet food. Lugging giant bags of dry pet food from wherever you manage to find a parking spot at the farmers market. That's some effort to help out our local animal shelters, so I greatly appreciate it. Talked to tons of listeners while I was there, and I had multiple people that were wanting me to play more Avatar, so I'm working on getting more of that implemented into the playlist. Right now, I got a brand new one from them. It's called Captain Goat.
I don't mind them. They're cool.
They are cool. That's why their name is Tool, because it rhymes with cool.
I watched the video of Ozzy reacting to their logo.
The wrench? The wrench?
Yeah, the wrench. He's like, what is that in the back of the shirt? And Sharon's explaining it to him. It's supposed to look like that.
Yeah, I think I saw online that Ozzy's final show, they're going to live stream it?
Yeah, it's $30 for the live stream.
That's not terrible.
They're really wanting to, hey, Ozzy, maybe you should die on stage just because we're charging people so much money for this. We need to, give them a show. And everybody was speculating, too, because you know how Sharon said in an interview that she kicked one band off the lineup?
Yeah, was it Tool?
Everyone thought it was Tool, but apparently that whole interview was from, before the lineup was even announced.
Oh.
So the one band is still anonymous. People are still trying to figure it out. But there was a poster that was uploaded without Tool's logo that everyone's like, oh, it's them because Tool is known for being that band that's hard to deal with. Well, they just wanted the whole instigate. Yeah, I heard that, where they're going to be live streaming it, that Tool, because Tool doesn't really allow streaming of any video stuff. Mm-hmm. And they've never even put out an official live video. And they, I think, record every single one of their shows. One of these days, hopefully, they'll drop the ultimate Tool live experience. They'll probably charge $1,000 for the Blu-ray. Oh, sure. People were making fun of Maynard because it was, what's that guy, Rick Beato?
Rick Beato?
Rick Beato. Yeah, he was interviewing Maynard, and he was like, how do you listen to your music? And he's like, well, I use compact discs, and he only listens to CDs.
That sounds like Maynard.
And Maynard answered it in such a horrible way to where he was mean to Rick, and so everyone's like, I bet he's fun at parties. They didn't really know who Maynard was in the comment section.
See, I'd like to meet Maynard. I really would, but I don't know if he'd really be fun. I've met a lot of bands, and sometimes you can just tell. I bet Danny Carey is a blast to chat with. Tool's drummer, Adam Jones, I think all of them, but Maynard, he can be a little pretentious.
Yeah, if you ask him a stupid question, I feel like I would do the same thing. I would answer the same fashion as him.
I'd make sure to dive right into talking about Arizona.
Sure, yeah.
I would not talk about Tool till I get him very comfortable with, let's talk about the Verde Valley, one of my favorite places in the world.
The two most difficult interviews, I feel like, are both Maynard and Trent Reznor. I feel like both those guys are pretentious in their own way, and you have to ask them certain types of questions in order to get them interested.
I bet Trent would be a much easier interview than Maynard, as far as him being personable. But I'd be pretty nervous interviewing. There's only a handful of people that I would probably get nervous interviewing. Maynard would be one. Trent Reznor would be one.
It's not like he's going to remember you anyway, so you might as well just, if you flop, you flop.
But there's nothing worse than flopping in an interview.
I get it. I get made fun of for that one question I asked Rory about you should write a song about your daughter. In my head, I'm like, he already did. I'm a stupid idiot. And
I hate that. Yeah. I hate that when that happens. That's the benefits to editing. You can just chop that stuff out.
Sure.
So listeners don't have any idea you asked a stupid question. But yeah, I've bombed a lot of interviews. It just happens sometimes. I'm concerned about tomorrow, aside from the fact that the last podcast guys, they talk for a living. So I think it should go fine, even if I suck.
They seem like they'll be endless with their chatter, and you're going to be like, okay, I need to cut it off now. This has been 2 hours.
Yeah, and I asked how much time I had, and they said, whatever you need. So I think I'm going to go home and do it at my house.
You better.
So that I don't eat up,
too far into your show sitting here in the studio.
Are you going to be like Lou Brutus and be like, look at this signed Stephen King book? I got a whole horror collection behind me.
I mean, I think having the horror collection behind me would be good.
Yeah.
You know, because I know those guys are big into horror. I just listened to an interview they did with the director of Bring Her Back, and it was a lot of fun.
Are they going to be like, okay, this guy's trying too hard to be like us? Or
I don't think so, because I mean, I am a lot like them. I think that's why I like that show. I'm into all of that material that they talk about. I love horror. They've done some really funny music-related episodes, like their series on black metal was hilarious. Like, if you want to learn about black metal and get lots of laughs at the same time.
I was laughing at their whole little thing about Abraham Lincoln sleeping with the one friend or whatever.
Yeah, apparently they were really good friends.
Yeah, and they were like chest to chest at night or something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing weird, Peaches.
I think it's funny.
Think back then they didn't have the same kind of heat and things that we have now. You had to do what you had to do to survive and stay warm.
If we had the power to time travel, the stuff that we would find out would be crazy.
Dude, I bet people would be so grateful for the modern. It might change humanity if people could actually go back in time and live during, like the 1700s or, a way long time ago. People go, okay, I didn't realize that. Like, no air conditioning. Well, let's just start with that. No air conditioning.
Yeah, imagine living in Palm Springs, California with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
120-degree summers. Well, there was less people, and sure, it was cooler.
The Earth in general.
Because there wasn't, emissions from cars.
Yeah. But, I mean, even down in Arizona, they've got, Native American ruins that go back, hundreds and hundreds of years. People were living in that area.
You're reminding me of the Sam Kinison bit about living in the desert and there's no food because you can't grow food in the desert.
Yeah, like people lived in these areas, and it must have been. Imagine just having to hunt and gather all your food. No grocery store.
Right, you failed as a father if you didn't bring home the game, the what's it called? The
wild game.
Yeah,
the meat.
You kill the bisons and you have to carry it back to your house.
Yeah, you ever tried to drag a bison? I haven't.
There was no wheelbarrows back then. You probably had to have that stupid tarp attached to two sticks and carry it like a stretcher.
But they didn't even have a tarp. You probably had to skin a bison and somehow turn the skin into something you could use to drag a bison on, like some pieces of wood or something.
You're dragging the dead bison by the skin as like some sort of like bag. There's probably blood and stuff coming out that's following behind you.
For sure.
And you're dragging it miles upon miles to your family.
I mean, I know people who hunt.
Imagine this.
You have to drag an elk out of the woods. They weigh, I don't even know what they weigh.
Imagine if you drug that to your house and your kids are picky. I don't feel like having bison tonight.
Yeah, back then.
You don't like it.
Back then, you just ate what you got. Imagine if you had
I want chicken nuggets. Too bad.
Health problems that pop up. There weren't no Tylenol. You're like eating a mix of plants to try to take the edge off.
Sure. They leech you.
Yeah.
They put leeches all over you.
Yeah,
take the bad blood out.
Exactly. Those ancient techniques that they used to try to cure people that, probably wasn't the best idea.
You go to the dentist / barber / doctor /
Yeah, or what about before even that? Like, you get a bad tooth.
Rip it out.
Yeah, how did you do it?
There was nothing. They just ripped it out.
I
mean, you watched the Red Dead Redemption 2 doctor scene where like they have to amputate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, here, take some drinks of whiskey. Now just sit there. Here we go.
You have to go to the schoolhouse. People are making fun of you if you have no right arm. You can't write anymore. You gotta learn how to write with your left hand.
It was bad time. People didn't live very long back in the day.
The ripe old age of 31.
That's why.
That's a grandfather right there.
I mean, it's kind of dark, but back in the day, people would have a lot of children who were lived on a farm.
But way early on.
And a lot of the children didn't make it,
Yeah.
Because that was the reality of life back then. It would have been terrible to live back in the day.
I told you about the Little House on the Prairie episode where there was those two circus performers, and they were like small people. And unfortunately, the wife passed as she was giving birth to the kid. And the guy was all like, "Oh, I'm so happy I found someone who's like me. I can't wait to have this family." The doctor comes in and just goes, "She's dead." And it's like every single Little House on the Prairie episode is all about the harsh reality of living back then.
Yeah, it would have sucked, dude. It would have been terrible. All right, well, I think this is going to be the end of the yapping on the show because We got to go to a meeting in just a few minutes, Peaches.
Yeah, we do.
All right, Mondays are rolling, everybody. We'll be back for the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem, and hopefully that show will be good. I got a few pieces of content we can use for that.
It's always a fun time. Don't tease it like it's going to be bad.
All right. Sorry, Peaches. It's Monday. You know, how enthusiastic can you be on a Monday?
Imagine trying to like tune into a big meaty lunch, you know, like the another station here in the area. Imagine thinking that's fun. No.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
All right. We'll talk to y'all in a bit. Thank you for listening. You're the best. Thank you again for tuning in to the Victor Welch Show. This program is a production of Riverbend Media Group. To contact the show or for more information, hit us up at riverbendmediagroup.com.